Good evening, everyone. We are continuing our unboxing series with something different. This time around, we have a PC game, a physical PC game. Uh, let's see if we get any information. So we have the minimum system requirements, something you don't get on consoles, in the recommended system requirements. And you get into the joy of PC gaming, of building your own rigs and seeing how stable or unstable they will be. Uh, Information that we can see: the first true next-gen Souls-like by IGN, the best looking action RPG to date. Extra life as bearer of the umbral lamp, embark on an epic journey through the land of Mornstead in your quest to overthrow a demon god. Will your legend be one of light or darkness? Okay. Overcome colossal boss battles in range of unique combat encounters. Travel between two coexisting worlds, the realm of the living and the realm of the dead. Okay. Good. If we are to notice over here, you read product offered subject to your acceptance of the Steam subscriber agreement between inverted commas SSA. You must activate this product via the internet by registering for a Steam account and accepting the SSA. Please see https store.steampowered.com/subscriber agreement to view SSA prior to purchase. If you do not agree with the provisions of the SSA, you should return this game unopened to your retailer in accordance to their return policy. In words from 2023, published by CI Games SE, Hexwork, developed by Hexwork. Words of the Folly is a trademark of CI Games, is a registered trademark. Hexworks is a registered service mark of CI Games SE, Societas Europea, European Society SE. All rights reserved, copyright CI Games SE. Okay, let's see what's on the inside. Once again, we are using our French knife. Let's see if this works. Beautiful. Let's set it on the side. And to no one's surprise, drum roll please. The code is over here for the deluxe edition. Okay, this is how it looks. The game has been out for 2 years at least, and now it has, after the commitment from the developers to it, now it has received version 2.0. Physical edition, yes. Physical edition, discless physical edition. Wonderful stuff. Oh, you don't need a physical edition because you have Steam. So, time has come for my Steam rant. Steam has been hailed as the savior of the industry, of the representative of the true consensus of the PC crowd. Loved by everyone. Steam, even though Steam takes a 20% profit cut from every purchase, you have to sell at least 1 million or something like that, and in order to have to be able to keep more of your own profit cut as a developer, as a publisher, instead of Steam. All is fine and dandy until you understand that Steam is one of the key agents responsible for the death of physical media in the PC space, and it's a big deal. And as well as in accordance to the Steam Subscriber Agreement, SSA, okay? So you have to agree with the SSA. And people are getting mad at Ubisoft for stating the obvious, for stating that you don't own your video games, you own a license. Well, I hate to break it down to you, but this is how it goes. You own a license to operate the video game you purchased. You do not own the rights on that, over that video game. This is common sense. This is reality. People want to deny it. People want to fight it. Yeah, you can fight it. I wish you good luck. And this is why, even though games look better on PC, may run better on PC, but for example, if I am to mention to you that Forza Horizon 5, a game that is 5 years old, runs anywhere between 28 and 35 minutes, then it crashes the desktop. Notwithstanding the fact that you are racing or not, the game just doesn't care. The game crashes the desktop, and the solution to it would be to revert to a former version of the driver, because I have an NVIDIA GPU, to revert to a former version of the driver in order to avoid these encumbrances. I don't want to, because reverting to a former version means that you lose the support to current day games. So yeah, I'm stuck in a limbo, being forced to play a video game that doesn't work, that may allow you to race, so to win one race or two before it crashes. So basically, not the best outlook on things. But to hit it home, instead of actually fixing the game, instead of having Steam going above and beyond to fix Forza Horizon 5 to make it an enjoyable experience for every PC gamer, because after all, they take a 30% profit share, profit cut, and you would expect them to have really nice support for the players. Not just support for the stupid modding community. With all due respect, yes, it's the modding community, but I won't be playing a video game for 2,000 hours on end because it has mods. It doesn't have achievements. The story is the same. I know where things are headed. So instead of playing a video game for like 6 years, I will be playing the video game for 2 or 3 years and move along. Life goes on. You're not listening to the same soundtrack. You're not reading the same books for heaven knows until the end of days. You're not doing that. You have to move on. Maybe I don't want to move on. Maybe I want to play a video game and I want to keep my money in my pocket. Okay, so basically what you're signaling to the industry is the following. You disagree with the development of new games. You're happy with the product that you paid money for. But you don't give a rat's ass if they release or they don't release video games anymore. Because, no, you cannot afford gaming. You cannot afford gaming, but you can afford to smoke, to drink, to go on senseless holidays. Yeah, it's your own money. You do whatever floats your boat with them, with the money. Okay. So this is my gripe with Steam. The achievements aren't the best thing ever. You don't get a platinum trophy equivalent, but this is a major problem with Xbox as well, because the Xbox lacks the the recording function that PlayStation has. Whenever you unlock an achievement, by default you will be able to capture 15 or 30 seconds pertaining to that unlocking of that specific achievement. Okay, and you also have a platinum trophy. Um, yeah, you have the modding scene on Steam. You have the Steam community, which is so lovely and nice, and trying to is very reliable in finding ways of troubleshooting the video games whose performance and stability should be the main focus of Steam to begin with. So this is uh, this is basically shifting responsibility from Steam to the users of Steam and saying, "Oh, this is wonderful. Steam allows you to troubleshoot your own video games, to talk with people worldwide and try to fix the broken games that Steam allowed on their platform and still keep them on their platform." Don't want to believe me that? Well, tell me why Cyberpunk 2077 wasn't pulled from the Steam store when it released the way it released, to provide you with a refresher. PlayStation pulled Cyberpunk 2077 and it wasn't purchasable for at least a half of a year or something like that. Same for Microsoft and their Xbox platform. So this is one of the main issues. You may say, yeah, no one uses a disk drive anymore. Who cares about physical stuff, about physical media? Well, we should care about, because it ties to game preservation. Normally, you shouldn't make illegal copies, but if you need, you can make copies of your DVDs and CDs for your own sake, for your own preservation, as long as you don't sell the product, as long as you don't benefit from selling the product which was made by the developers of the video game. It's perfectly fine to have backups of your DVDs and CDs. There is nothing barring you from doing just that. So not everything is fine and dandy with Steam. I have major gripes with Steam and its lack of support, and the fact that publishers may retire video games from their store. Even Ubisoft, yeah. I'm a Ubisoft shill, but I'm going to call out Ubisoft when they make their mistakes. Yes, even with the Crew 1. Who gives Ubisoft the right to retire the video game from the Steam store? Why is Steam in agreement with this? Why did they allow for this? Same for the South Korean game, which pissed off Communist China. Who gives Communist China leverage on the games that are on the Steam store? As far as I remember, Steam wasn't Epic Game Store. They didn't have Tencent with a share of in the bonds of the company. So there are many talking points, but what I demand of the general audience is not to be rife with hypocrisy. Not to mention that Gabe Newell is Jesus Christ on earth. To mention a situation like these, when you don't get the physical, you should always get the possibility to have a physical copy, even on PC. You want to download the game? Very well, download the game. But if you want to install it from a physical support, you should be able to do so. And same thing with many other games. With the fact that Spec Ops The Line is no longer purchasable. Why did Steam agree with them? Because Steam has the authority. So 30% profit share, profit cut of any product, and all of a sudden Microsoft decides no longer to sell its Forza Horizon 4 video game on Steam, and you can now no longer purchase Forza Horizon 4. Why did Steam agree with those aspects? Why didn't Steam push legal action against Microsoft and threaten to fine the living hell out of them? Because Steam is an intermediary for making money. Steam is no better than Ubisoft Connect, than EA, than Battle.net. This is the reason why people love to idealize Steam. They love to consider Steam the token of normalcy within the PC space. No, the situation is much more dire and it's much more cynical than that. And basically, you don't have Gabe Newell on your side. He doesn't hold your best interests in his heart. It's all about the money. It's all about the cash, the dough, the business. It's not about being on a mission to save PC gaming and restore balance to the universe. No. The situation is much simpler and much more disappointing than we want it to be. We need to talk about, as I mentioned before, Game Pass is the best deal in gaming. But to have games like Clair Obscur 33 Expedition, whatever the name is, released without HDR, I'm feeling attacked because I'm not represented by the video game. Because I have the opportunity to play games in HDR, but I don't have HDR support. Same for the Oblivion remake. It doesn't have HDR support. How in 2025 can we allow video games with no HDR support to surface? Well, the vast majority of video gamers don't have HDR capable displays. Well, I don't care. I have, and I cannot play those video games with HDR, so I'm not represented. I honestly feel attacked by the release of a game that doesn't feature HDR support. So, what are those people willing to do to appease me, to pacify my situation, to reach a consensus with me? Is a probable buyer of their video game. And about Clair Obscur. Clair Obscur seemingly is a game that only required 30 people to materialize, okay? No, you will have to look for an article by Rock Paper Shotgun which states the obvious. The game has at least 500 people working on it. Just because you have 33 musicians and 5 Korean guys designing the combat doesn't mean that this is the whole story to it. Not in the slightest, okay? Well done. I congratulate Clair Obscur and Kepler Interactive and Sandfall Studios, or whatever the name is, on their success with the video game. It's an original story, not my cup of tea. I'm not going to rush to the shop and buy the video game because it's so amazing and it's a JRPG, is a turn-based combat which can be designed by a wombat, okay? It's turn-based combat will never be more exciting than real-time combat. No matter how many ribbons and glitter you put on it. No matter how many spins and quirks the turn-based combat has. Okay, it's an easier solution for a conundrum. The conundrum of designing gameplay and combat in your video game. Real-time combat requires a much more different skill set, a much deeper technical knowledge and mechanical knowledge to make it work than turn-based combat. Feel free to disagree. I'm looking forward to your comments. So yeah, I'm not at peace with Steam, whatever the guys are doing with the situation of PC gaming as a whole. We have this period of scalpers. We had the pandemic. It hit PC pricing very hard, PC components, hardware pricing very hard. And in all honesty, I don't recommend making a PC. For the time being, Assassin's Creed Shadows works flawlessly on my PC. Yeah, it has those dips in performance, but it doesn't have anything of the Unreal Engine 5 horrendous navigational stuttering out of no logical reason on no logical grounds. Okay, there's a far better engine, and the guys developed the engine, so they improved upon the Anvil engine, which is one of the most scalable in the industry. I want to say otherwise, just present me with the proof. It's a much better engine than whatever Unreal Engine 5 is trying to do. Because, especially on the PC, Unreal Engine 5 is a stutter fest. It's very obvious that the game engine lacks many important PC features and it doesn't prioritize PC performance and optimization. So this is Unreal Engine 5 and this is the engine everyone uses. So you may not like the Assassin's Creed Shadows, but credit where credit due. The game works with no crashes, with no navigational stutters. It may load in, it may comply shaders, but it is by no means worse. And objectively speaking, it is the best engine of any video game. For the yield that it bestows upon us, the Anvil engine and even the Snowdrop engine of Massive Entertainment, I think it's a very good choice, a very pertinent choice for PC gaming as well as console gaming, because they are very scalable and you can see true differences from the PlayStation 5 version to the PlayStation 5 Pro version. So the guys are capable of taking advantage of slightly improved hardware that has been developed by Sony, and they have released their patches, and there is a clear-cut distinction between the PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 5 Pro versions of Assassin's Creed Shadows. So it is clear enough that the console yields some extra power, and if you're willing to harness it, you can be able to do so. Yeah, this is the state of PC gaming. In all honesty, as I mentioned before, I don't recommend PC gaming anymore. I recommend to people that if they don't want to shoot video or are willing to go for a capture card, they should get the Xbox Series X for the time being. You don't like the quality. Okay, you don't like the fact that in order to push graphics you have to play in 30 FPS. Hmm, not that big of a deal when you think about the fact that you can play in 4K, you know? Even with upscaling. But the vast majority of PC gamers, especially in Romania, aren't pushing 4K HDR 60 the way I'm pushing it. The vast majority of video gamers are considering 2K to be the maximum, even a bit outlandish. Not to mention 4K. 4K is so far up the food chain, they simply don't consider it a viable option. So this is it. And if you want to record your stuff and if you're willing to pay a bit more for exclusives, the PlayStation is a better choice, PlayStation 5 Pro. Because, as we all know, Sony decided on making the PlayStation Digital Edition, PlayStation 5, and the C chassis and the D chassis more expensive. So this is actually creating a crisis, an artificial crisis, in order to provide the fix. This makes the PlayStation 5 Pro ever the more attractive offer. Why? Because you have to pay the price, you have to pay the extra for something that goes up in price but loses value when compared to PlayStation 5 Pro. And the PlayStation 5 Pro becomes cheaper or maintains its price before the price increase of the base PlayStation 5. And if you have the money, go for it. If you don't, just wait for the next generation of consoles to drop in 2027 with the Xbox and in 2028 with the PlayStation. Or maybe both will drop in 2027. Don't expect anything sooner than that. It's very unrealistic. Not impossible, but unrealistic. Okay. So, I hope you had fun. I hope you were entertained by the things I went through in order to present this to you. As you noticed, there is no physical support for the video game. There is no physical disc. And in part thanks to Steam and the way they made digital content widely available, and they discouraged people from owning their video games. And they don't mention a lot about the EULA, about the fact that you still, at the end of the day, you own a license, you don't own a product. Ubisoft were uninspired to mention this. They weren't foxy enough. They weren't cavalier, coy enough to not mention this. This is the issue with Ubisoft. Ubisoft tend to be arrogant, but truthful. You know, they tend to be honest. They tend to tread the waters quite a bit. They wanted the quad system with the NFTs. I'm well aware of the hindrances of Ubisoft, but I'm also willing to dish out credit where it is due. I'm not siding with Ubisoft. Of course, I'm biased towards Ubisoft, but I'm not blind to Ubisoft's stupidity or immorality. Okay, so I hope you guys had a great time. Keep safe and sound. Sector out.